And I'm starting the recorder.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's up to you.
Okay, so it start here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, okay, so this is like very sharp, yeah? And I'm moving on some really hard surface. It makes this strange noise. Okay, it's very like smooth, but also like a bit dirty, so it leaves some kind of something on. Well, something like a powder, and when you use this. Yeah, and it's all the same. Oh, so now there's like something different. It's very cold. It's cold and it's like more not wet but maybe moist. So it's a bit like muddy soil, but not that much muddy. It's very irregular at the beginning. Yeah, it's like sometimes when there's like there is seaside, it's like some kind of land that is very irregular and goes like into the sea in like an irregular pattern. Okay, but now, well, okay, so there's something that reminds me of like a thick needle or like a nail. It's like or a spike. Yes, it's something like something spiky. And next to it, there is something like a line, not a line, like some kind of a very, very thick string, or maybe a pipe that goes around it. And it goes around it on the right, and then it also twists. And it goes to some other object or some other thing. Yeah, and this thing, it could be like from underneath it's like, I don't know, a mushroom maybe, but from the upper part it has yeah, it's like, I'd say it's like one of the mushrooms that are like that have some kind like of, not maybe a hole on the upper part, but are like, I don't know, but something is growing from the upper part, so it's also something like a pipe or a string, but it also reminds me of a snake because it's like it's more flexible than the other parts, so it's you can move it, and it has something very round at the end, so it can remind me of a snake because this round thing may be a head, maybe, so it's possible it's a snake. And the twisting thing that reminded me of the pipe goes on, and it twists. Maybe it's like a bunch of snakes on the ground. Then there's something that looks like a tree, maybe like a tree that has no leaves and is like empty on the inside, or maybe something that is more of like a volcano. It's like shaped like a vase, but it's also very very cold and a bit moist, maybe. It also has like irregular edges, so it's a bit strange. Then there's a ball, something that reminds me of a ball. It's like movable. I can like put it in some other place. Then there is another thing that looks like a snake or a pipe, or maybe it's a branch from that empty tree. Oh. The surface is very cold. It's uneven, irregular. Oh. I thought there like nothing else would be there. There is something. Oh, it's something very big. Something very big. It's like, I don't know, maybe a fragment of a destroyed building or something. Also with uneven shapes, but it's much bigger than the other things. That was at the end. And yeah, when I come back, so here there's something like a flower. Maybe it's a very big flower next to the moving ball. It's also next to this empty tree or volcano. Maybe it's not a flower, but it has like different layers, and so possibly it could be a flower. Yeah, and next to it there's something that reminds me of a leaf, so it would make sense if it was like a flower and maybe an empty tree or this volcano. Oh, there's also one thing here. It's hard to say what it is, but maybe it's some kind of a shell of a snail, or maybe some strange plant or some strange rock. It's hard to say. This shape doesn't really remind me of anything, so I don't know. And then there's something that is much bigger than the thing I touched recently. It reminds me of a tree that would grow up and then grow down into the ground at the same time. Or it could be like a very thick, very big pipe that goes out of the ground for some time and then goes into. So maybe it's like a pipe for transporting water or something like that. And yeah, and it's probably basically
Okay,
it.
great. So I'll introduce to you now another. And we could just go on. I'll just cover this again. And then I'll lift that first. Try just another face. Work in it. And then here. Chair on the left.
Oh, so you have to sit?
Yes, now you can sit down. This object is a little bit different. So I will position it in front of you. And if you stretch out your arms, you feel there's this kind of support for table kind of thing. So the object is going to come on this one, okay?
Okay.